The call came late in the afternoon. A frightened voice told me that a tiny cat had been crying for hours, maybe days, from inside a drainage pipe beneath the rooftop of a 7-story building. When I arrived, the sound was faint, fragile, almost lost in the wind. The little one had been stuck so long that even the person who called me had already given up hope. I looked up at the rooftop. The pipe ran from the 7th floor straight down the side of the wall, a narrow space between concrete and steel, impossible to reach by hand. The resident explained that the kitten was only about a month old. Its mother was a stray who had given birth inside a hollow wall. They believed the kitten had been carried up to the roof by the mother, only to slip and fall down the vertical pipe inside the wall. The cries were sharp and desperate, the kind that pierce straight through your chest. But we couldn't see the kitten at all. We knew it was alive, but trapped in total darkness. This was no simple rescue. The pipe and wall were part of the building's public drainage system. To break through, we'd need permission from the property manager and residents. While we called for help, the kitten kept crying weaker each time. Every second felt heavier than the last. When the firefighters arrived, they quickly assessed the situation. The cat's voice was coming from deep within the lower section of the pipe. We decided to open a small part of the outer wall first, hoping to reach the sound. But when we cut into the surface, we discovered steel reinforcement bars beneath the metal panels, impossible to break through safely without damaging the structure. Crowds began to gather around us. Some people covered their mouths, others whispered prayers. One old man said softly, "If there's a life in there, we have to try." After consulting again with the building's management, we were granted permission to open a section of the lower floor's marble drainage cover. Dust and stone fell away as we pried it open, and then, through a narrow slit, we finally saw the drainpipe. We cut a small hole into the pipe and shone a flashlight inside. It was packed with debris and soaked paper, completely blocked. When we cleared it away, the faintest glimmer of movement appeared. Then a sound, a trembling meow. "There!" someone shouted. "He's alive!" My heart jumped. We decided to approach from above. The firefighters set up a tall ladder and climbed to the outer edge of the 7th floor. From there, we could open another hole where the pipe was exposed. One of the rescuers slid his phone camera inside to locate the kitten's exact position. The moment the phone's light hit the cat, it let out a cry, loud, hoarse, full of fear and hope. It began clawing at the inner wall of the pipe, trying to reach the light. Everyone watching fell silent. The will to live radiating from that tiny body was enough to stop time. Using ropes and a small loop, we carefully lowered a rescue knot down the pipe. It was tricky, the opening was barely wide enough, and every movement risked frightening the kitten deeper into the tube. Minute after minute passed. The daylight was fading fast. Then suddenly, the rope tightened. We got him. We slowly, carefully pulled upward. 1 meter, 2, 3. The little cat emerged, trembling, soaked, covered in dirt and grease, but alive. The crowd clapped. Some people cried. I pressed him gently against my chest. His heart was racing like a drum. He was so small, so fragile. I couldn't imagine how he had survived in that cold, wet pipe for so long. We handed the kitten to the young woman who had called for help. She held him close, whispering, "You're safe now." On the rooftop, she opened the carrier and called softly, "Mama cat, look!" Within seconds, a larger cat appeared, eyes wide, tail shaking, running toward the sound. She circled the cage, meowing desperately, rubbing her face against the metal. The kitten reached out a tiny paw as if to touch her. It was one of the most beautiful moments I've ever witnessed. That night, as the city lights flickered on, we repaired the damaged wall and sealed the drain. The kitten and his mother were moved to a foster home, where they'd be safe and warm. Before leaving, I stood for a while on that rooftop. The air smelled faintly of rain, and I thought how fragile life can be, and yet how fiercely it fights to keep going. Every cry for help deserves to be heard. Every small life deserves a chance. To anyone watching, please, before you drive or close a drain, take a moment to look. Tap your car hood. Check the pipes. Because sometimes in those dark and forgotten places, a tiny heartbeat is waiting, just waiting for someone to notice.